Nothing changes if nothing changes. You have to take the first step. You have to take action. It is delusional to wake up and think that your life is just gonna fall together. That without you putting in the work, without putting in the reps, that your life is just gonna fix itself. That your problems are gonna fade away. That you're gonna wake up with the motivation, with the strength, and with the capability to do that thing that you've been putting off. I say this from experience because I've been the type who has always delayed things. I've told myself that tomorrow or next week is a perfect time for me to begin and do this thing. That today just doesn't feel right. I'm tired, I got low sleep, I have some big project coming up with a very tight deadline. Whatever the case might be, I see how my mind is an expert at making excuses, at convincing myself that I don't need to take action right now. But also, I see how much resistance I feel to take the first step. But as they say, to begin is 50% of the battle. And so we have to embody this mindset, the mindset that we have to do something. We have to do something. It could be very small, but you have to take action. You have to allow yourself to step outside of your comfort zone and begin that journey, whatever that journey is for yourself. I'll mention a few examples where I've seen this in my life. And the first one is the gym. I grew up a very active kid. I've always loved sports, basketball mainly, but I really fell in love with the gym, with working out, with physical exercise. But last year I had this phase in my life, a darker phase in my life where I stopped working out. I lost the momentum. And over time, I lost the habit. I would no longer wake up and have that energy and that excitement to go and work out, but rather it felt like I was in a place where there's no motivation. It felt like my body was weak, and it felt like I was giving myself every reason for why I should not go to the gym today. I would look back at old pictures of myself when my physique was better and just want that change, just want that transformation, just want my body to look the way it did at that phase in my life. But I wasn't doing anything about it. I wasn't allowing myself to leave my house and go to the gym. Even if it's for just 15 minutes, half an hour. I saw how I had this built up frustration with myself where I wanted to change. I want to better my life. I want to be the best version of myself, but I wasn't allowing myself to do so. And that's where, as days and weeks and months passed by, I began to understand that I'm not taking action. I'm the one who's at fault here. It's not anybody else to blame. It's not the pain and the trauma that I thought I was going through, but it's the fact that I've allowed my mind to convince myself that I cannot just go and work out. And it's a funny thing in life because I kept telling myself that, Naman, tomorrow we're gonna go. We're gonna get the proper sleep today. We're gonna lay out our gym outfit and we're just gonna go and take that first step and hit that gym. But when that day would come, I wouldn't follow through with it. And it got me to a point where I stopped trusting myself. I began to see myself as somebody who says he wants these things in life, who says that he wants to be someone who lives a life of excellence, someone that takes care of his body, somebody who eats right. But I wasn't doing anything about it. but I wanted that change so badly in my life. And so I did what I typically do, and that is I try to just consume more positive content, more motivational content. But even that was me thinking that I'm taking the first step. Oh, Naman, look, you've put yourself in a position where you're hearing these guys talk about bodybuilding and how you can change your physique and become this great version of yourself. But right when that video would finish, right when I would close that book, I would do nothing about it. And that's the day when I really began to understand that I need to do something different. These motivational videos, these books, these TikTok videos that I'm looking at, which inspire me and make me believe that, yes, I can do it too, were just distractions. Distractions that I was making because that was a habit that I built. I built a habit of consuming information, but not having the courage to go out and do it myself, to not have the courage to go and create something myself. And so over time, this pain got deeper and deeper. The frustration got to levels where I was my own biggest enemy. And that's when I really started to allow myself to just take that first step. Naman, we're gonna go today and we're gonna do the bare minimum. We're gonna go and just stretch at the gym and hit the treadmill for 5 to 10 minutes. Just get a small sweat going, just so we can be in that environment. We can see the lights, we can see other people working out of all ages, of all demographics. And so I fought the resistance. And I'm telling you guys, it wasn't easy. It wasn't like I just had this perfect day where the motivation was exactly what I wanted, but rather it was one of those days where I woke up and I told myself, I'm not gonna repeat the same patterns of behavior and actions that I have. I'm not gonna wake up and scroll on my phone or watch all these motivational videos which are sucking away my dopamine, but rather I'm gonna wake up, not look at my phone, eat 2 bananas, take pre-workout, and hit the gym. I allowed myself that day to do something different. Maybe there could have been a better way I could have gone about it. In my mind, the way I was always looking at it was that, hey Naman, if you're gonna work out, you have to go and do a proper workout. You have to get the Apple Watch fully charged. You gotta have the best gym fit. You gotta have the best playlist that you can play while you're at the gym. But all those things were resistance. All these things were getting in the way of me taking action, of me taking that first step to leave my house and go to the gym. And that's the thing with the gym also, where you see the change, you feel the change. And from that day, even though the workout wasn't the best and I wasn't there for long, it allowed me to prove to myself that, hey, I can do this. I can reprogram my mind to do things different than I have always done them. I began to understand the power of agency, of taking the initiative and not thinking that I have to fall into the same patterns that I have in the past. I don't have to look at myself as somebody who is all talk. I can begin to look at myself as somebody who not just wants to change, but is willing to do the hard work to make that change a reality. And now I'm at a point where I'm obsessed with the gym. I feel like I'm back in that same place that I was before I fell off. And I have people in my life who come to me and they're like, hey Naman, how did you go and get your physique back? How did you gain all this muscle? How did you get all this motivation to go and do this? And I tell them this exact point, that you're not gonna feel like it. You're not gonna wake up and have this completely different mindset that today is perfect. Today is a day that my hips don't feel like they're in pain, that my lower back doesn't feel like it's in pain. But rather you have to just do something different. Something that will allow your body to see that different is possible. And maybe you're not doing the right thing. Maybe it's the fact that you hit the gym and you realize how weak you were and you're like, this is exactly why I didn't want to go. I should have done this mobility work and this stretching and this and this. But it's the fact that you took the first action, the first step, that allows you to have these thoughts come into your mind. You're not blindly going about life. You're not imagining yourself living in this fantasy where you're taking action, but rather you're doing it and you're learning from it. And so the gym has been a great part of my life where I've seen this change happen and I've seen the domino effect of that change. The second piece is exactly what I'm doing right here. I've always, since I was a little boy, I've loved making videos. I've loved making things. I feel like I've been a creator since I was a very young kid, and I've done a bunch of different projects for different things, and I've embarrassed myself along the way. But I got into this point in my head where I knew I wanted to just start creating stuff for myself, for me to just talk to myself and put my voice out there in the world. But I was battling this insecurity in my mind, this insecurity of who do I think I am to go and talk about things like this. I'm not an ultra successful millionaire. I don't have this super chiseled physique that people are gonna look at me and say, yep, I should listen to him. But I began to see how that was just my fixed mindset. I did not have the growth mindset of understanding that if I just pick up the camera and I hit record, that the words are eventually gonna come out. I might stutter, I might not pronounce something correctly, my message might be all over the place, but it's the fact that I began talking. It's the fact that I allowed myself to believe that I can make something and do something different than I've always done. No longer was I doing what I was doing before, which was a bunch of planning. I would go and write these scripts. I would plan all these great shots and say, this is gonna be the most cinematic video. People are gonna love it. The color correction is gonna be perfect. But all those things, just like with the gym for the motivational videos, they were a distraction. That was the resistance that I was facing in my life that was not making me do what I had to do, which was simply turn the camera on and record myself, to simply upload that video or that speech, even though it's not perfect, even though it's freestyled. I thought everything had to be so perfect, and I made myself believe that because I grew up as somebody who knew stuff about video and photo and all this, that I needed to have content of such high quality, and that if it wasn't like that, then I'm disappointing myself. But once again, that was my same mindset where I wasn't willing to change the way I looked at myself. I wasn't willing to change the way I looked at putting myself out there, the way I looked at creating content, of being someone who is a storyteller. And so, just like with the gym, I told myself, Naman, we're gonna wake up in the morning and we're gonna not fall down that same path of writing down ideas and making everything perfect, but we're just gonna go and we're just gonna record. We're gonna just talk and we're just gonna let it be. We're gonna let the words flow out of ourselves because we know who we are. And even if I feel like I don't know fully who I am, even if I feel like I'm not great at speaking, even if I feel like I don't have anything of value to share with the world, I'm still going to do it. Why? Because I know I'm doing something different. I'm proving to myself that I can get out of my head and that I can do something that I have not done for weeks and months, things that have been on my mind for so long. I had to allow myself to understand that failure is not something that we need to avoid. We need to fail in life. We need to allow ourselves to do things which feel uncomfortable, because those things will eventually allow us to not only connect deeper with who we are, but also open up our mind to the possibility of things that we've never thought about. We might start talking about topics that we never have. We might start going to locations that we never would otherwise. And that's exactly what I'm doing right now. If I'm being honest, I was at this point where I just didn't know what to do anymore, and I just had to let myself understand that I can do something even if it's very small. And what is it that I can do right now which will allow me to take this first step to just begin recording myself? And that's why I'm recording myself right now as I'm driving, because I have these thoughts and these ideas, and I want to express myself when I'm driving to work, when I'm driving to go see some friends. And I thought that this would be the best way for me to go and do something different. Because if I don't, then I'm gonna be stuck in that same pattern of wanting to change, of wanting to make something happen, but ultimately doing nothing about it. Ultimately just giving myself false hope and giving myself this belief that, Naman, one day it's gonna happen, that one day I'm gonna have that perfect script, I'm gonna have that perfect message, that perfect scenery, that perfect lighting, the perfect audio. But that day does not exist. So once again, I say the same thing I said in the beginning. You have to take the first step. Nothing changes if nothing changes. So I ask you to think about your life. Think about the different things that you wanted to do. Whether you were a little kid and had these dreams and goals, whether it's something that you want to do right now, but you feel like people are going to judge you for it. You feel like you're not good enough. You feel like you're not special enough. You feel like too many other people are doing it. I invite you to really question why you have that mindset. And I really want you to reflect on, why do you have this mindset? Why do you have this limiting belief? Why do you have this negative outlook on life? Why can't you just do it for you? Why can't you allow yourself to prove it to yourself that you can do something different? Rid yourself of those expectations, because you have to let yourself know that it's just resistance. Your mind and your body, it hasn't done this before, or maybe it hasn't done it in a long time. But if you take that first step, you will feel something different. You will feel something within you that makes you understand and embed within yourself that, this could actually work. I could actually do this and get better at this. And then you stay consistent with it. You keep trying different things. You make yourself go to the gym on those days where you feel like you cannot go. And now you're changing things that at one point you never thought you could change. And once you begin to change these parts of your life, once you begin to see that you are capable, that you have the agency to make decisions and follow through with those decisions, regardless of what other people say, of what other people think, or even what your old self will think, or what your future self will think. It's the fact that you allowed yourself to see the transformation, the possibility of change happening. And I promise you, you will see this ripple into all other areas of your life. You will begin to see yourself become a person that isn't just wanting to change, that isn't just a person that is hoping that things will get better, but somebody that knows that you gotta do something. You gotta do something about it. And if you don't do anything about it, then you're delusional. Then you're somebody who just has the mindset that life will give me these things. But ask yourself, do you deserve it? So many people in life want these great things. Who doesn't want a great body? Who doesn't want to be intelligent? Who doesn't want all the great things the world has to offer? To travel, to have money, to have a great loving relationship with their significant other and their family and their friends. But these things don't just happen. These things don't just happen overnight. You have to be the one who has to be willing to take that first step. You have to be the one who has to be willing to look like a fool, to not understand what you're doing. I remember in the beginning when I began using this camera, there was so much I didn't know about lighting and about audio and about post-production, and there were just like, it just felt like there's a world of knowledge, and I always made myself believe that I gotta know everything. I gotta go and do all this research and take all these courses and tutorials about videography and post-production, but that led me nowhere. And because I was not applying that information, ultimately it never registered in my mind. It went in one ear and out the other. And that's why I began to understand the power of taking action, the power of not just wanting to change, but doing something, no matter how small it is, to make that change happen. So I leave you with this. You have so much autonomy. You have so much agency. You are capable beyond things that you know possible. If you have seen other people in life accomplish great things, if you have seen other people make an impact, if you have seen other people go from a point of misery to a point of bliss, if you have seen other people transform their lives for the better, then I want you to know that you can do it too. You can make it happen for yourself. You have to believe. You have to really want it, but you have to act. You cannot just have these ideas. You cannot just have this thinking that it's gonna fall into place itself. Put yourself out there. Be willing to be a fool. Be willing to do it non-perfectly. Be willing to slip up. Be willing to fail. Because I promise you, most people don't even try. And the fact that you're trying is so bold and so brave, and it will lead you to the places that you want to go. So go do that thing that you've been putting off. Go make that change in your life. Start believing in yourself. Start rewiring your brain to be someone who takes action, to be a doer, because I promise you, it's possible and your potential is limitless. Thank you for listening and have a great day.